Doing another garden inspection. Birds have been very busy this morning. They've already eaten up a couple of fat balls, so I shall have to put in some more later. And the garden is looking very desolate. Midwinter or pre-spring. Dead leaves everywhere, branches empty. I've just turned the flower bed over, easier to weed. I shall do that shortly. My little passageway here is, well, because the trees are bare and there are no leaves, it looks not terribly pleasant. This is a bed of hellebores and primroses. I don't think snowdrops, there are no white ones. But the hellebores are nice. They're not coloured like a normal flower, but nevertheless when you get close they do look like a blossom. These are the Primula or primrose. And the flies are already on them, or some insects anyway, spreading the pollen. Oh, and I see a little bee, yes! Good heavens, it must be a bit cold for him. More hellebore. And the primulas that the bee is so interested in. And there are some that are actually flowering. Primula, primrose, more of them. And on this side also, some brambles that I must cut back before it gets out of hand. I think that's the first thing I'll do today. And a few more primula. And more brambles that I need to handle. And some daffodils hiding away under the trees. Next to the farm at the roadside, some daffs and some mini daffs. Not sure what these are. And that looks like speedwell. And again, lots of helicopters going overhead. The kitchen garden, it's got its own set of daffodils. Let's have a closer look. And my Forsythia finally come out. In other years it's come out already January, February. I've filled up the hole in the lawn and I see the rabbits have already tried to reverse the action. So this is my Forsythia. Lovely little tiny yellow flowers. And shortly the whole bush will be, I hope, covered. And that reminds me, looking at that, it needs to be stripped of the ivy. And this is what's left of my peonia. And I've covered it in, to protect it and to feed it. I put compost around. Before I did that I noticed there were, on the roots, there was some growth. So I have high hopes for this. And here more hellebore, very nice. This earlier in the year flowering, not brightly flowering but very pleasant. And I think this is also peonia. And this is marjoram, and I really need to cut it right back so that the new growth has a chance of pushing through. This is a plant I put in last year. Let's see whether it survives. And also a rose there. I've also planted, put compost around it. Let's hope that's successful. And again, a bit of hellebore. And this is my lime tree walk, 2, 4, 6, 8, 16 trees. Of course, no sign of leaf or blossom yet, but underneath it at this time of the year we have the lovely daffodils. And under this bush, oh, it's managing very, very nicely, isn't it? The hellebore here. It's a big bush. Lovely. I don't know what happens later. I suspect by the end of March it's gone and it'll just be green until next year. Daffodils, and I suppose these are narcissus, but I'm not sure. Daffodils, lovely. Bright, firm yellow. Very nice. And amongst them, a few crocuses. Lovely purple crocuses. Struggling because not too much light is getting through because of the daffodil stalks and the narcissus. Still some remains of snowdrops, lovely. Primulas, and of course daffodils, but not so many down this end because they don't get the sun, but there are some. And my second Forsythia. And just a week ago there was nothing, but it's obviously benefited from the sunshine. Lovely little yellow flowers. Looking forward to this. In a week's time it's going to be glorious. Mexican rose, and it's just starting to have buds. Look at that. Got several of these. This tree's starting to get buds as well. I'm not quite sure what this is. My Mexican rose, lovely white blossoms. This is starting to come out. More Mexican rose. Starting to bring out its flowers. And another Forsythia. My poor magnolia, suffering from the attention of the deers, I'm afraid, and it's not a very sunny spot, which means I need to get rid of this tree so it gets more sun. A few more daffodils. My ceanothus, giving it a bit of support with composting. It's a couple of years old and it hasn't grown very far. Maybe it doesn't like the soil, maybe it doesn't like the position. but at least it's not on the verge of death like some of the other plants are. Another ceanothus, doing reasonably well, and it's got some fresh green leaves here. That's promising. Another plant that I've composted. These look like old leaves. Don't know how well that's going to do this summer. Let's see. And my butterfly plant, which is surviving quite well. No blossom yet, of course. You see the dead blossoms from last year. Let's see how well it attracts the insect life this year.